Networks ignore Lorreta Lynch story in favor of more Trump-Russia coverage. The Senate Judiciary Committee has opened an inquiry into former Attorney General Lorreta Lynch over allegations that she interfered in the Hillary Clinton email probe. Fired FBI Director James Comey recently testified that Lynch sought to downplay the investigation into Clinton's use of a private email server by asking him to refer to it as a matter, not an investigation. The mainstream media has largely ignored the Lynch story while they've continued to extensively report on possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. MSN coverage of Lorreta Lynch probe. ABC News, 31 seconds. NBC News, no coverage. From June 23rd to June 25th on NBC. CBS, no coverage. From June 23rd to, no coverage at all. Now, MSM coverage of Trump-Russia probe. ABC, 14 minutes, 22 seconds. NBC, 11 minutes, 42 seconds. CBS, 19 minutes, 9 seconds. During the same period, the networks devoted extensive time to the Trump-Russia probe. ABC News covered the story. We just went over that. Christopher Bedford, editor-in-chief of the Daily Caller Foundation, said on Fox and Friends that the Lynch inquiry is a huge story, but so much of the mainstream media is hung up on old news or non-news. That's the key here, non-news. He said much of the media's reporting is about fitting a narrative, and the Lynch probe doesn't conform to that. He noted that even Representative Adam Schiff said the thought of Lynch meddling in the FBI's Clinton investigation makes him, quote, queasy. He said that President Trump, on the other hand, has never been the target of the FBI's Russia investigation, according to Comey's testimony. Let's take a quick listen to Fox here. Okay. Let's see. Sorry about that.
And attacking our network. I just want to ask you, sir.
I'm changing it from fake news now.
Doesn't that
Very faked it.
And now, after CNN very wrongly tied a Trump transition team member to Russia, there's a new rule at the network. You got to get permission from the bosses before putting out any story about Russia. Joining us right now is the editor-in-chief of the Daily Caller News Foundation, Christopher Bedford, joins us from D.C. So, Chris, what happened?
Well, they relied on one anonymous congressional source. That's what CNN did. And you guys have been doing this for a long time. You know it can be absolutely maddening to have a story that you think you've got. I can remember specifically that we had one highly placed source that told us who Donald Trump's Supreme Court pick was going to be. The problem was we only had one source. So we had to sit in our hands while someone else was the first one to get two sources. That's the reality of journalism. That's journalism 101. If you can't confirm a story, you really shouldn't run with it. But the problem with a lot of these guys at CNN and some of these other places is that they're so eager to find these stories and believe these things, they push it out. So then CNN's top editors, the editors of CNN Money, said, no more of this. If you're going to do any more stories on Donald Trump and connections to Russia, it needs to go by the top brass. And I think it's a few months too late, but a step in the right direction.
Well, there you go.
All right, we want to talk to you about the Senate launching this investigation into Lorreta Lynch. You know, we're reporting that, some networks are reporting that collusion, alleged collusion between President Trump and Russia. What's your response to this?
Oh, it's been wild. I mean, last week while I was sitting there at the U2 concert watching A Message of Unity and things like that, and I get a breaking news alert from the New York Times that said that Mike Flynn had CIA access to confidential documents even when there were suspicions about him. There was nothing breaking about that. We've known that for months and months.
Yeah.
Look at this, Chris. We're showing you the coverage of Trump-Russia probe versus Lorreta Lynch. Look at this. This is Trump-Russia. ABC, 14 minutes, 22 seconds. NBC, 11 minutes, 42 seconds. CBS, 19 minutes and 9 seconds. But let's look at Lorreta Lynch, the coverage of that. 31 seconds on ABC. No coverage on CBS or
No
NBC.
story there. Keep moving.
They want to, and the stories that have now been coming out that they're touching on the morning show, they're touching on the breaking news, they aren't even stories, they're old news. And meanwhile, a huge story has come out. Even a Democratic senator has said that this looks really, really unsavory. The FBI is actively investigating. By the way, as we've gone over, they aren't actually investigating Donald Trump, and CNN had to retract the story a few weeks ago, right after James Comey said that he wasn't actually investigating Donald Trump. They had to apologize, and they stripped the bylines off of it until the Daily Caller called them and said, where are these bylines? They put them back on.
There you go. Speaking of FBI investigations, of course, the one into Trump and Russia, big, 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 but not so much about Bernie Sanders and his wife under FBI investigation, right?
Correct.
And this has been a slow-cooking story. We first reported on this in 2015 at the Daily Caller News Foundation, and it's been slowly rumbling up, and now the FBI has been pushed to investigate whether or not Bernie Sanders' wife, Jane Sanders, took out a loan based on donations she had to Burlington College, which it turned out didn't actually exist. And it's also a question of whether or not Bernie Sanders' Senate office pushed them to it. And because of that, there is no more Burlington College. The church, the loan from the Catholic Church and the loan from the bank were lost by the college. And now people are looking into it, but you won't hear about that on almost any news station because it doesn't fit the narrative that people want to push.
No kidding. If it's not about a college in Russia where the Trumps are involved, they're not going to cover it. I'm just telling you right now.
It's true. Christopher Bedford, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
That's it.
Interesting stuff. All right.
Let us know what you think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.